All right. Abu Dhabi Grand Prix 2025. The three-way title fight has been decided. Who was it? Lando Norris, Oscar Piastri, or Max Verstappen that took the title today around Yas Marina? Well, that is one of the things that we learned, but what were the other four? Let's get into the 5 things that we learned about this year's Abu Dhabi Grand Prix, the title decider for 2025. And oh boy, am I going to miss Formula 1 over these next few months. But don't worry, we'll keep you entertained here on the channel, guys. Don't you worry about that. The content will keep coming through this off-season. So the first thing that we learned is that the closest challenger to the top 3 today was going to be Charles Leclerc. Of course, Ferrari had a pretty shocking qualifying, particularly Sir Lewis Hamilton on Saturday. Leclerc did a good job, as he normally does in qualifying, but he was absolutely on the edge. I think he ended up starting in 6th place, something like that today. Jumped a couple guys off the start, of course. George Russell getting a really bad start, bogging down off the line, too much wheel spin for him, and he was down a few places as a result. Got jumped by Fernando Alonso as well. Alonso, great job today. Did a really good job in the Aston Martin, of course. But it was Charles Leclerc who threatened to make things very awkward for Lando Norris. He was looking quick in a straight line. He was getting that DRS, but Lando Norris just did enough to maintain that 3rd position he was in and eventually keep the threat of Leclerc away. I think he finished about 4 seconds or so behind Lando Norris at the very end. 4th place for him. A good result for him in that Ferrari. Ferrari not with a good season at all. 4th in the Constructors' Championship for them. That is a really, really poor performance. They could have got 2nd had they continued their form, but in these last few races or so, particularly for Hamilton, unfortunately, they have been really poor. But Leclerc is not the guy to blame. They will hope to rest and recharge over this festive period and come out swinging in 2026. They certainly hope they will come out swinging in 2026 because, yeah, it's been pretty bad, to be honest, in these latter parts of the season. So like I said, Lando Norris, he was obviously the favourite coming into this one. Unsurprisingly, Red Bull were doing all they could to try and make things awkward, including utilising their second driver, Yuki Tsunoda, who by his standards this season actually had a pretty good race for the most part. He of course qualified in the top 10 and he ran along on the hard tyres, did the alternate strategy, which meant that after Lando Norris and quite a few other people pitted, he was still out on the track and he was ahead of the likes of Lando Norris too. He made things as awkward as he could and it seemed to be relatively fair within the bounds of Formula 1 regulations, but eventually they did fall foul of them, the Japanese driver. It wasn't quite a Mexican Minister of Defense job like Sergio Perez did at the same track for Max Verstappen in 2021. Unfortunately for him, he did fall foul of the regulations. Now, there were some people saying that, well, maybe Lando Norris will get a penalty of this because he technically overtook off of the track. However, he was forced off the track by Yuki Tsunoda. For me, this is absolutely cut and dry, and I am sure that some people will say, McLaren bias, papaya bias, British bias. Just shut up, right? The rules are in Formula 1, black and white, that if you make 2 moves while you are defending, you are falling afoul of the regulations. You're allowed to make 1 move, Tsunoda made 2 moves. On that 2nd move, he forced Lando Norris off of the track. Yes, Lando Norris did overtake off of the track, but he was forced into doing so, so the stewards rightfully gave Yuki Tsunoda a penalty for that and correctly did not give Lando Norris a penalty for overtaking off the track. That's it. Simple as that. Let's talk about Oscar Piastri next. 3rd thing I want to talk about. He did a good job today. He started on the alternate strategy. He started on the hard tyres as well. And he put in a really good overtaking manoeuvre on Lando Norris. I thought that Piastri might have got him off the line, even though he's on the harder tyres, which are harder to actually heat up and get firing straight away. He was on the preferential line. He was on the clean side of the grid. However, it was a good start for the top 3. They all got away pretty evenly in the end. But Piastri put an incredible move on Lando Norris round the outside at the end of the 2nd straight. No DRS involved in that. That is a DRS straight, but that was the 1st lap of the race, so there was no DRS involved in that. And he kept that 2nd place. He made the alternate strategy work pretty well for him. Unfortunately for him, it wasn't enough to be able to try and overtake Max Verstappen. He did run longer, of course, on that. He did stay out longer than Max Verstappen, but Verstappen overtook him on the track, and it wasn't quite enough. If a safety car got thrown, if a virtual safety car got thrown, if a red flag got thrown, then Oscar Piastri could well have won the race. But unfortunately for him, that didn't happen. I think all 20 Piastri drivers actually finished this race, which is pretty rare, but this is a track, of course, with a lot of runoffs, so it does lend itself to that. So Piastri did all he could today, finished in second place. It wasn't quite enough for him. He had to finish ahead of Max Verstappen. Fourth thing we learned, Max Verstappen was absolutely incredible in this Grand Prix. I mean, he started on pole position. Like, if you saw my qualifying review from yesterday, you'll know how good he was. He was a couple of attempts ahead of the McLaren men, and he was relatively untroubled in this one. I mean, like I said, the only thing that really could have changed things was if there was a safety car or a virtual safety car after he did his pit stop. But, you know, he did all he could. He won the Grand Prix, did it relatively comfortably in dominant style. He ends this season on an absolute high. 3 wins in the last 3 races. He's on an absolute roll right now, going to 2026. If Red Bull give him a car, he will win the World Championship next year. Red Bull developed this car quite a bit, but it wasn't quite enough in the end for him, because he won and Lando Norris was in 3rd place, which was just enough for Lando Norris to be world champion. He joins the likes of Sir Lewis Hamilton, Graham Hill, Jim Clark, Damon Hill, Nigel Mansell, James Hunt, and a lot more. I think he's the 11-4-12 Formula 1 champion from Great Britain. Well done to him. Of course, some people will say that he was team ordered into it. He got lucky with that. No, you know, the fact that he actually recovered so well from that Canadian Grand Prix disappointment where he just drove into Oscar Piastri, knocking himself out of the race, a lot of people would have crumbled because of that. Lando Norris of 2024 would have crumbled because of that. He did an excellent job to come back in the end. And again, some people will say, well, he bottled the last few races, you know, Max Verstappen really closed in on him. Really? Did he bottle the last few races? Are you sure about that? A double disqualification in Las Vegas? That wasn't his fault. A terrible strategy in Qatar? That wasn't his fault. You know, Norris would have had this title wrapped up if it wasn't for that well before Yas Marina. But in the end, he did just enough. He finished in 3rd. He knew that if he finished in 3rd in this Grand Prix, he would be world champion. Finished in 3rd, he did. He is the world champion. Congratulations, Lando Norris. Commiserations to Max Verstappen and Oscar Piastri. I am sure they will come out swinging. I am sure as well that Oscar Piastri in particular will have learnt a lot from this season, and he will be an even better driver next year. You know, Max Verstappen showed just how much of an amazing driver he is this season to get so close, be 100 points behind and end up, what was it, 2 points off the World Championship? It wasn't a lot. Sorry if some of the facts and figures are a little bit off in this one. I did watch the second half of this Grand Prix at a bar with one of my old friends I've not seen for a very long time. So it's been a good day. It's been a nice day. And yeah, don't worry, I wasn't wearing this while I was down there. I didn't want to tempt fate. Imagine if Verstappen became world champion and I was wearing this. It would have been pretty humiliating, to be honest. But yeah, anyway, guys, the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix, not exactly a classic title decider. It was tense, it was nervy, didn't really have any drama in the end, but that's sometimes how it goes. Lando Norris will not be complaining about it. McLaren will not be complaining about it. But what do you think about it? Let us know in the comments below. And like I said, there'll be plenty of content over the winter break for you guys. Just because Formula 1 is going to sleep doesn't mean we are. We're going to still be here, guys. I love the sport. The grades will be coming soon for the full season grades, because I know you guys really love them. I like doing them personally. So the cap and gown will be back. Hopefully this week I will record that and it'll be out the week after. But yeah, see you soon, guys. Have a great time. And well done, Lando Norris.